Welcome to USA Weekly News Plus. This week's top headlines. This week's global news cycle has been dominated by a series of interconnected crises, highlighting the fragility of peace and stability. From escalating tensions in the Middle East, to the worsening humanitarian disaster in Sudan, and the looming winter crisis in Ukraine, the world stage is rife with challenges. The resurgence of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah has displaced thousands and raised fears of a wider conflagration. Simultaneously, the ongoing crisis in Sudan continues to spiral out of control, with devastating consequences for civilians. Adding to global anxieties, Ukraine is bracing for another harsh winter amidst ongoing conflict. Beyond these immediate crises, we will also examine significant developments closer to home, including the bribery charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Furthermore, we'll analyze the current state of the global economy and the recent rally in the United States stock market. This is a critical moment in global affairs, and it is imperative that we remain vigilant and informed. Escalating tensions. The Israel-Hezbollah conflict. The recent surge in violence between Israel and Hezbollah has dramatically escalated tensions in the Middle East. The exchange of rocket fire and cross-border attacks has shattered a period of relative calm, leaving communities in fear. The international community has called for restraint, urging both parties to de-escalate the situation. The roots of this conflict are deep-seated, stemming from decades of unresolved disputes and mistrust. The current escalation is fueled by political maneuvering, security concerns, and broader regional dynamics. The ongoing violence has resulted in significant casualties and widespread destruction, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The potential for this conflict to spill over into a wider regional war is a grave concern. It is essential for all parties to exercise restraint and engage in diplomatic efforts to prevent further escalation. Humanitarian crisis unfolds, displacement and aid in the Middle East. The escalating conflict in the Middle East has triggered a devastating humanitarian crisis, forcing thousands to flee their homes. International aid organizations are scrambling to provide essential assistance to those affected. Refugee camps are overflowing and resources are stretched thin. The international community must step up its efforts to provide adequate funding and support. The conditions in these displacement camps are often dire, with limited access to basic necessities. The health and well-being of displaced populations, particularly children and the elderly, are at serious risk. Beyond immediate needs, the psychological trauma experienced by displaced individuals is a significant concern. Providing mental health services and psychosocial support is essential to helping these communities cope and rebuild their lives. Sudan's descent, a nation in crisis. The situation in Sudan continues to deteriorate, with ongoing conflict plunging the nation deeper into chaos. The Sudanese people are bearing the brunt of this violence, facing unimaginable hardship and displacement. The conflict has disrupted essential services, including healthcare, education, and access to clean water. Hospitals are struggling to cope with the influx of casualties, and many lack essential medical supplies. The widespread violence and insecurity have made it extremely challenging for humanitarian organizations to operate effectively. Access to conflict zones is often restricted, hindering the delivery of aid. The international community must exert greater pressure on all parties to respect international humanitarian law and allow unimpeded access for humanitarian assistance. Communication blackout. Assessing the situation in Sudan. The ongoing conflict in Sudan has created a communication blackout, making it difficult to assess the full extent of the humanitarian crisis. The disruption of internet and phone services has hampered communication with affected areas. This information vacuum makes it challenging to coordinate effective relief efforts. Humanitarian organizations rely on real-time information to understand the evolving situation. The communication blackout hinders their ability to gather accurate data and make informed decisions. Reports of atrocities and human rights abuses are emerging, but the lack of independent verification complicates the situation. The communication blackout also makes it more difficult to hold perpetrators of human rights abuses accountable. Restoring communication is essential for ensuring accountability and preventing further atrocities. Winter's bite. Ukraine braces for the cold. As winter approaches, Ukraine is bracing for another harsh season amidst ongoing conflict. The combination of freezing temperatures, damaged infrastructure, and continued fighting poses a severe threat to millions of Ukrainians. The destruction of homes and infrastructure has left many without adequate shelter and heating. The approaching winter increases the risk of hypothermia and other cold-related illnesses. The international community must prioritize the provision of shelter and heating assistance. Displaced families are often forced to live in overcrowded shelters, lacking access to basic necessities. Providing adequate shelter and support to displaced populations is a critical priority. The international community must adapt its aid delivery strategies to ensure assistance reaches those in need despite winter challenges. UNICEF's Lifeline, supporting vulnerable families in Ukraine. UNICEF is playing a crucial role in supporting vulnerable families in Ukraine as they brace for the harsh winter. The organization is providing essential supplies and services to children and families affected by the conflict. UNICEF's winterization efforts include distributing warm clothing, blankets, and heating equipment. The organization is also supporting the repair of damaged homes and infrastructure. In addition to material assistance, UNICEF is focusing on protecting children's education and well-being. UNICEF's dedication and efforts are making a tangible difference in the lives of children and families. New York Mayor under fire, Eric Adams, faces bribery charges. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is facing serious bribery charges, sending shockwaves through the city's political landscape. The allegations involve accepting illegal campaign contributions in exchange for favors. The charges have raised questions about the integrity of his administration. The details of the bribery charges are still emerging, but the allegations suggest potential corruption. Mayor Adams has denied the charges, claiming he is the victim of a political smear campaign. However, the charges have already cast a shadow over his administration. Political fallout implications of the Adams charges. The bribery charges against Mayor Adams could trigger significant political fallout. The allegations against a prominent Democratic mayor could be exploited by the Republican Party. The charges could influence voter perceptions of the Democratic Party. The case highlights the potential for loopholes in the system to be exploited. This could spark renewed calls for campaign finance reform and increased transparency. Within New York City, the charges could lead to a reshuffling of political alliances. The outcome of the investigation could impact the city's political landscape. The charges underscore the need for transparency and integrity in government. Global economic update: stability and the U.S. stock market rally. The global economy is showing signs of stability, with positive indicators suggesting a potential easing of inflationary pressures. Recent economic data indicates a slowdown in inflation in several major economies. The U.S. stock market has experienced a significant rally, driven by positive economic data. Investors are encouraged by the slowdown in inflation and the prospect of a pause in interest rate hikes. This rally has boosted investor confidence and contributed to a more positive outlook for the U.S. economy. Despite positive trends, significant risks and uncertainties remain. The ongoing war in Ukraine, geopolitical tensions, and supply chain disruptions pose challenges. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has revised its global growth forecast, acknowledging positive trends but cautioning about persistent risks. Vigilance is required to address ongoing risks and vulnerabilities. Staying informed: the importance of global awareness. In today's interconnected world, staying informed about global events is more important than ever. The events unfolding around the world have far-reaching consequences. Access to reliable and accurate information is crucial for informed decision-making. In an era of information overload, it is essential to rely on credible news sources. Critical thinking and media literacy are essential skills for navigating the complex information landscape. Staying informed empowers us to engage in meaningful discussions about global issues. By understanding global challenges, we can advocate for effective solutions and support initiatives that promote peace and justice. Staying informed is about understanding our interconnectedness and recognizing our shared responsibility for a just and sustainable future. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, like, and comments. And check in the description affiliate links. USA Weekly News Plus.